that's my message to Mamba FX. If you're still watching, if you go to a Wanda account and you profit with the Wanda account with your signals, I will publicly make a video saying, I am sorry, you are actually a profitable trader. I will say that in a video. If you're profitable there, I'll publicly give you the kudos. With everything that happened, I do have a confession to make, which is...
Welcome everyone to the Words of Rizdom Podcast, the #1 podcast in the trading space, the fastest growing as well, thanks to all of you and the incredible guests. Talking of which, we have the man of the hour, the name that's going through the metaverse or the online space, Mr. Kimmel Trading.
What's up, man? It's good to be here, finally.
No, 100%. We've been trying to do this for a long, long time. It's just like the stars aligned finally.
Yeah.
How you doing, man? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Some things have been going on, a little bit more pressure, but everything's good.
Yeah. So let's go straight into it. Obviously, right now, we have this incredible video that's gone absolutely viral where you're taking Mamba FX's signals. Now, I watched the video and I have a very balanced point of view. I went into it watching it thinking nothing. I didn't have any expectation. And I thought, personally, it was a very balanced video. But some people online, it's very interesting. It's a polarizing video, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to get one on either side. But me personally, I think it was a great job. Well done personally. But the sort of reaction we're seeing online to some people are really congratulating it, saying it's a great video. Some people saying, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done this. What are your thoughts?
I think I've thought about this after the video went viral and I started getting a lot of traction, a lot of hate comments, a lot of positive comments.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, after getting the backlash, I thought, was this a good video? And the conclusion that I came to is that, yes. The reason why that was the conclusion is because it was unbiased. I did not manipulate any results. I did not manipulate his results. And the reality is that, yes, maybe I was expecting to be negative. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not make it seem as if Mamba was negative.
Mm-hmm.
I did not manipulate any results. I recorded everything, every single signal. I showed everyone the charts every time I took a trade, every time I exited in trade. I showed TP1, TP2, everything. And then I just made it entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, there's this conflict of interest because if I want to make a video entertaining, I need to get people hooked. So the reality is that you need to come up with problems that are always coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the line that went viral, he edited the signal, was something that I knew I had to use
Mm-hmm.
because it is going to be so polarizing that it's going to make people watch the video.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, after all of this drama, after everything that has been said, I still believe and I still stand for what I made in the video. Is it polarizing? Yes. That's why it went so viral. But the reality is that it was unbiased in terms of results,
Mm-hmm.
biased in terms of opinion, true, but unbiased in terms of results. And because of that, I'm fine with the video.
That's fair. Well, after watching the video, you didn't hate on the guy. You didn't say, no one go do this. And this guy's fake, even though he made profitable signals, for example. You didn't say any of that. So I still don't get why he would be mad, for example, or anyone would be mad. Because at the end of the day, he just got free promotion, if anything. And again, you used a hook. But at the end of the day, that's one version of a hook. Another version could be, stick around, I'm going to give away some iPads and laptops. That's another version of a hook,
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with these hooks.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of the online space.
Yeah.
It's like giveaway counts for prop firms.
Yeah.
It's another version of a hook or a way to get engagement. And some people might not agree with any of these things. Hooks-wise, though, that is the bread and butter of social media.
Yeah.
That's exactly how Impulsive will use things. That's exactly how KSI will make a video. That's exactly how Mr. Beast will make a video. The hook at the very beginning of, I'm going to drop a train into a ditch.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's the hook,
Yeah.
right? And some people understand that. Some people obviously don't, which is absolutely fine. But yeah, like it's very interesting to me. And plus, at the end of the day, he did edit the signal, right? Yeah. And one thing I would say in terms of what I took away, because I commented on the video, I said, look, the red flags that stick out to me with any person, doing signals like if there's no stop loss being sent, if your TPs are like straight away as well. Because at the end of the day, if there's no stop loss sent, what happens? That means you can't really navigate a risk to reward because there's no risk in the first place. The risk is completely open-ended. And if your TP's like after 10 points or 20 points, but you got no stop loss, there's no element of risk to reward. The reality is that you have to take it apart, right? Who are you? You're an experienced trader who knows what they're doing, knows the industry. Who are most of the people who will take signals? The complete opposite.
Yeah.
Absolute newbies who really want hands off and think that it's going to work for the most part, right? And therefore, they're not going to have that same, and plus you were making a video. So you were purposely making sure that any trade that came through, you were there to take it, while most people just aren't ready.
Yeah.
So therefore, the reality for the people who are actually, say, signing up to these things, the reality is most of them won't know what they're doing, especially if they're not giving any guidance on risk, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the issues come in on that side.
Yeah.
But again, you highlighted those sort of things, but you didn't highlight or put any negativity on the actual individual, the member himself.
Yeah. So I think the reality there is also that at the end of the video, I simply address the whole video.
Mm-hmm.
So there's obvious red flags in the signals,
Mm-hmm.
which is TPs are really small. That's what makes the bot, for example, that he has in order to lure people in, make sure that he seems profitable all the time. Because if TP1 is super close and you're sending the signal as soon as market opens, that means that TP1 is inevitably going to get hit, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean that everyone is profitable because you don't know when people execute it. And that happened to me where he said, buy NASDAQ now. I bought, TP1 was hit, and yet TP1 was below my entry, which means that if the trade would have reversed it completely, all of a sudden the signal looks profitable, but everyone that entered was unprofitable. So to me, that is a big red flag. The other thing is that by being a trader, I know what risk management is like. If I want to know how much I want to risk, I need to know my stop loss. And that's the funny bit even, because he said, oh yes, because of this video, today I sent a signal with a stop loss directly. And I'm like, well, I guess I had a positive impact because if you changed it to the point that now people can have proper risk management, then I think that's positive.
Well, it's funny you say that. What he actually said was he's not going to edit it anymore. He's just going to send another post with the stop loss after.
Yeah.
So they're still taking trades with no stop losses.
It's in the stop loss he sends directly. But what I was also going to say is that at the end of the video, I left such an important message, which is give a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish, you'll feed him for life. What are signals? Signals, I'm giving you a fish. And I'm like, here you go, eat, right? Oh, I made so many people rich. First of all, did you? Second of all, is that long term? Because if you decide that now you don't want to trade anymore, if you decide that all of a sudden you don't want to send any more signals, what are people going to do, right? You're not teaching them anything in your signals. And that's fine in terms of business, I guess. Do whatever you want. But then my problem is that people, they share their lifestyle as if it was funded by trading, when in reality it was other businesses. And we can, for example, talk about trading courses. There's a big difference between me making $10,000 every month from trading, selling a course and making $100,000 from trading, from the course, and then portraying my lifestyle as if I was able to afford $100,000 per month. That's not true. That is selling a dream. Now, if the way that I promote the course or promote my signals or whatever it is, I say, here's how you can make possibly $10,000 a month, which is what I do. You can follow this course. You can follow these signals, whatever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't share signals, but it depends on how you are trying to get people involved. And that's one of the things that I don't like. It's that it's portrayed in the sense that he makes a lot of money from trading, which I don't really believe because it's done on an unregulated broker. We have no proof that it is true. We just see MetaTrader statements. Hey, look at this. I can do that too. I can go onto an unregulated broker. I've been offered marketing accounts for big amounts of money, but still I did not do it. Because again, it's all about having your values in check. So if I'm going to sell something and I'm going to sell a lifestyle that is not funded by what I'm selling, that's unrealistic. And that's what I did not like about the image. And that's why I came biased into the video in wanting to be negative. And it's true. It's true. I was biased in that sense in the video, but that did not make me not stick to my values of being truthful. Because if I really wanted to, there were, for example, 2 trades that went into super deep drawdown. I could have just said, those were losses. Magically, the recording doesn't appear, but those were losses. But I did not do that. So I stick to my values by being honest on the results, and I also stick to my values when I said, don't follow signals in general, because you want to learn how to fish and not just be given a fish.
No, 100%. And that's why I said it's a very balanced point of view. You could have easily, if you wanted to create a very negative narrative, you could have. And, even if it meant like changing things or anything, but then you decided not to stick to it. At the end of the day, I'm sure you might have been even felt conflicted of say, this was actually profitable. Do I want to make this now?
Yeah.
But you still did.
Yeah.
And I think the advice at the end is just very fair and balanced advice. There are still going to be those people who try signals, right? The interesting thing is that I found with his video that he put out today is that he was handpicking tweets of negative, negative against you. Now, obviously, you could sit there, I'm sure, and pull out positive tweets and handpick them. But one thing I found interesting that I checked before we did this interview was like his signal reviews, right? And I pulled them up, and all the reviews, interestingly enough, though, were before the video came out. So they weren't like recent. They haven't like started going on there. And the review score is like 2.1 stars. But the whole thing is they're all saying, not all of them, I'm sure there are some positive ones there, but the majority that are negative, which they are, because that's why it's 2.1 stars, they're saying like most of these lose, it's very similar to what you said where, it said, the bot's making out it's profitable, but it's actually not, and there's loads of them, right? And we're going to make sure screenshots are there in case anything changes, but it's all there.
Let's think about this. If the signals are so profitable and you can see that I did not manipulate any results, why ban me from the group? Why ban me from the group after I also can see that on Monday, after this happened, you had 3 losing trades, yet your bot still said that you were profitable? Why remove me from the group when I was unbiased in terms of the results, yet you don't want me there? You don't want me to do more free publicity? If it's that good, why can't I stay there?
And you paid for it, right?
Yeah.
So you've been scammed.
In a way.
But one thing I wanted to ask you in terms of signals, though, because obviously I've never been through that process, but did they provide any insight into this is how you risk?
No. I remember the first time, the way I came into trading was through signals. And I remember that the signal provider also had like TP1, TP2, TP3.
Yeah.
And I had to message him like, dude, what do you mean TP1? I had no idea what that meant. And he was like, take a partial. And I'm like, what's taking a partial? Can you talk a little bit more about it? Like, I did not even know that you could take a portion of the position by like going into the closing tab. I did not know that. So a lot of these beginners, how are they going to know how to manage a trade if you don't have a stop loss? Because think about this. I did this with a $10,000 account. Imagine someone entering in the same type of risk that I did, which was low, but on a $100, $500 account. All of a sudden, in one trade that, let's say the first trade is a loser, they can literally lose if they don't know what lot sizes are, if they don't know what risk management is, if they don't know what a contract size is. They could literally, in one trade, one losing trade, they could lose all of it. But there's nothing there to back new traders up. Yet it's marketed to new traders.
Yeah, hands-free, sort of making money. And was there any mention of like use this, recommend this broker to use or anything, or was it just straight signals?
No, just signals.
That's good. That's interesting. But it's something that you mentioned in regards to like the values, for example, and like they mentioned about buying views and buying likes. What do you think to that?
Well, with everything that happened, I do have a confession to make, which is
It's time to make the biggest announcement we've ever made on the podcast. You guys have been asking for it, and we've finally done it. We are launching the Words of Rizdom Patreon. As part of the Patreon, you're going to get every single week exclusive podcast episodes. Every single month, I will be hosting live calls where you can ask your questions to me directly. We will also be doing Q&As with industry-leading traders such as Umar Ashraf, Omar Agag, Life of Paladin, Jade Cap FX, and so many more. I'll also be doing huge giveaways every single week for Patreon members only. And finally, I have partnered with the top companies in the industry, such as Social Trader Tools, Magic Keys, and TradeZella, to bring you the biggest discounts, saving you hundreds of dollars per month. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, and I know what you're thinking, but it's just $15 a month. It's just 50 cents a day. And with that, you're going to get exclusive episodes, live calls, Q&As, giveaways, and the discounts that I have secured for you. With the discounts I've secured, I'm basically paying you to join. Learn from the best. Join the #1 trading podcast in the world. Join the Patreon. The link is in the description below, and I will see you in there.
I do regret sharing some screenshots, but I don't regret anything else because I did not buy views. I did not buy comments. I did not buy likes. I didn't buy anything. I made a good video. I put a lot of work into that video. It was, I finished recording it on Friday, and on Saturday I posted it. And yeah, it was a hard work, good video, good storytelling that did end up getting the views. Now, do I regret sharing certain screenshots? Yes, maybe, because I didn't think it through. To be fair, like, to what extent should I have been told that? I thought that was weird too, but to each their own. But if I really have to think it through, I would not share those screenshots. But I did it in a way of protecting myself, because at that point, everyone was attacking my Instagram, and he said that I was faking all of that. No, my family was threatened. I was threatened. My Instagram got taken down 4 different times. Ever since I made the video, Sunday was taken down, Monday was taken down, and Tuesday was taken down twice. Thankfully, like, it's a real Instagram, so I always got it back, but it's a headache. Now, the reality is, if someone is punching me, I have to know how to punch back. The reality is, did I throw the first punch? Yes, of course I did. Did I take a punch back? Yes, and I was willing to take the punch back. That's why he started posting the stories, and I was like, well, it is what it is. I guess we're talking about this. And that's why I posted the DMs, because he was accusing me, just like he did on the video. He was accusing me of something that I did not do. The only point that he had that is true is that I came with the bias of it wanting to be negative. All the rest was wrong. I did not buy views, comments, likes, anything. And I did not want to share his personal information. Not at all. Like, why would I even want to do that? It was heat of the moment. Do I regret it? Sure. Would I delete it? Yes, the tweets. But all the rest, like, there's not much else I could do. It's the thing. As I said, your amount of success is going to be dictated by the amount of pressure you can handle. And if Instagram is the cost of making an unbiased video or partially unbiased video, then so be it.
Definitely. And it's interesting, like, a lot of people haven't been in those situations of, like, a very heightened state, a lot of chaos going on around them. A lot of, especially when there's threats involved as well. But I've been there before in a situation like this, especially with, like, social media involved, etc. And it can be very heightening. It's so easy to just make an accidental mistake, and that's fine, right? These things happen. No one's really perfect, right? But at the end of the day as well, these people who are trying to attack you, they're not attacking you for no reason or just because they're a fan of someone, right? It's because they're being instructed or told to go do this, X, Y, and Z, Because, like, taking down Instagrams, for example, costs money. It's not like a case where someone's just doing that for free out of the kindness of their heart, And again, I've been there. I know this. I know the behind the scenes, and I've seen it happen time and time again. And I think you've handled yourself absolutely fine, you know. And I think, yes, mistakes can be made, but you even said, admittedly, here and even online, the same thing. I think some people, it's very interesting because some people are like trying to say, oh, you have to do this, but speaking from authority, but where's their authority coming from? You know, like when have they been in that situation? When have they been able to say, oh, you know, I would have done this better? And that's what I never understand. It's like, if it was me, I would do this, but it's like, it's not you though, and you've never been there. And I think, again, bias video wise, you might have gone into it with a bias, but you definitely didn't portray that bias, in my opinion, on the video, right? Yeah, the hook was there, but that was a true hook anyway. So it's not like it was clickbait. It wasn't like you said it and it wasn't actually in the video, or it didn't mean anything, right? And then, yeah, like the actual video, you said they were profitable signals. I don't personally believe in signals, you know, and I believe in this philosophy, right? And that's it. That's how the video ended. And I still don't understand his rage or his annoyance or because I think he's actually made it go bigger from his reaction. Because if it was just left how it was, people would watch it, probably say, hey, this guy probably has some profitable signals apparently. Yeah. And, well, Kimmel doesn't like signals, and Kimmel said, like, we should really learn to trade ourselves, and that's it. It wasn't like you sit there and said, he had profitable signals this week, but he's fake, and he's a liar, and he's this, and he's that, right? You could have easily ended the video like, Mamba FX, even though he had profitable signals, he's actually a liar, he's actually a scammer, he's actually a fake trader, and don't buy signals. But you didn't. Yeah. You actually made it so balanced, like, hey, I made money from it, that's it, right? Yeah. So I don't get it. Like, I really don't understand his mindset of reacting the way he has, because he could easily have not reacted and it wouldn't have gone as big. Yeah. The reason is it was already big anyway, because it's a great video, has every element that video needs. It already has the push. It might have capped out at like 100, 110, 120. But I think because of his reaction and then the storm he's made online, that's probably what's pushed it now to 230 or something. Yeah. Probably going to end up on 500K.
Yeah. So this is what I told Mamba. So we exchanged some DMs, as we know. That's one of the reasons he got mad. So we exchanged some DMs, and he said, you bought views, likes, and etc. And what I've explained to people is that none of that happened. And the reason why it went viral, and I told this to Mamba, you have a very polarizing social media profile. People either love you or they hate you. Yeah. They know this. So if you make a video about someone that has a huge audience, and it might be good or it might be bad. No one knew before getting into the video if it was good or bad. The thumbnail said fraud and then a question mark. That's what gets people to click, because there's 50% of people that want me to say that he's a fraud. Yeah. And there's 50% of people that want me to say he's not a fraud. which is weird, because the video ended up in the middle where both people can take it the wrong way. Yeah,
so that's probably why it's worse.
People that hate it probably were like, why did you post it? Hate him probably said, why did you post this? Now you're showing his profitable. Yeah. While the people that love him are like, why would you post this? He was profitable, right? Yeah. But the thing is that it was such a big video, because I'm basically gathering the whole audience that he has and that he doesn't have, because they hate him, and just putting everything together. So it's not buying or whatever. We can even share a screenshot of the views and of the graph of the views, and you guys tell me, where did I bought this? Like, there's no,
because you can't bot it gradually. You can only like bot it in terms of like 10,000 views there, 20,000 views there, and you'll see spikes. Yeah. And then like the watch time won't change because there's no one actually watching it. It's quite obvious when it happens, right? Because there'll be just this crazy spike, right? Rather than like the normal gradual, even if let's say if it's a low performing video, the gradual will just be lower down. If it's a high performing one, it will still be pushing up, but it's never just one line. It's like a gradual thing. If it gets botted, then it's like this huge spike out of nowhere, then it just goes back to gradual again. So it's quite obvious if someone gets botted. So definitely we'll put some screenshots up for sure. But at the end of the day, you've been trading for a long time. You've been creating content and documenting your journey for a long time as well. Yeah. So I'm sure like something like this, as you said as well, you've expected it, because you already knew that because it was balanced. Yeah. It's gonna get hate from both sides, which isn't something I thought about, which is so true, and it makes so much sense. It's actually quite funny. Yeah. But like, you expected that, because you've been in the game for so long. So what has your journey itself been like? Let's take a break for a minute there, guys, because I want to tell you about the best trading tool on the market, TradeZella. The reason why TradeZella is the #1 trading tool that every trader needs is because you can do backtesting, automated journaling, trade replay, in-depth analytics, and so much more. And the greatest part about TradeZella is that it's all automated. All you have to do is connect your MT4 and MT5. It will pull all your data onto the dashboard. You can add playbooks. You can just add notes. You can add images from your trades, and you can get the insights that is necessary for you to progress as a trader. Now, TradeZella is for absolutely everyone. Whether you're a crypto trader, whether you're a Forex trader, whether you trade prop firms, it is for absolutely everyone. And that is why thousands of traders have signed up using my link here through the podcast. Make sure you use the code RIZ10 for 10% off your monthly subscription, or WOR for 20% off your yearly subscription. The link is in the description below. And let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, so I started trading 4 or 5 years ago. Started with signals too. That's why I think that's one of the reasons why I have this despise for signals, and I believe that everyone is fake. I always take a step back when someone is selling signals or whatever. I know people that do it profitably, but still I wouldn't advise anyone to do it. But yeah, ever since then, the focus was just become a professional trader. So that was the focus for the first 2 years. In the first year, after the first year, I decided to start documenting my journey in general, because I wanted to show people the truth. I wanted to show people that, listen, here's me working 2 jobs, coming back home, trading, never went out one day out of the first 2 years that I went to start trading, never ate out, never did anything that was spending money. I was spending £30 a month on everything else, on everything I needed. And I was making 1,000 by working at 2 jobs. So I wanted to show that. And that's what I did. Ever since the beginning of my journey, I documented a lot of it, from not being able to pay, not being able to go out and eat something because I needed to save up because I wasn't a profitable trader, to not being a profitable trader and going full-time, because that's what I did. I became a full-time trader before I became a profitable trader, because I believed in the dream in general of becoming a full-time trader. And so I went back to my parents' house, once again reduced my expenses by a lot. So I was spending maybe 100 euros per month, not a lot, and mostly was on fuel and some food. But yeah, then just kept on learning. And here we are. Consistent with trading, profitable with trading, had a good year. Last year was acceptably profitable, not full-time profitable, but profitable. And this year, everything leveled up, not only the YouTube, not only the trading, but my life in general. So I'm grateful for the whole journey in general.
So let's just touch on the end point there in terms of it leveling up. What do you think the key aspects of that level up? What was it that did that for you?
Yeah, it's funny because everyone wants to know the secret of trading. And here's the secret of trading, is that there is no secret. The consistent behavior that you have every single day is going to dictate where you are going to be in 1 year's time. So whatever you do on a day-by-day basis is going to dictate where you are going to be in the next year. Because let's say that you are dedicating 1 hour of your life to trading and 5 hours into gaming. Where do you think you are going to become more skillful? Is it in trading or is it in gaming? It's obviously gaming, because your behavior is mostly focused on gaming in this case. And so I knew that from the get-go. And so my 2 focuses were work to make money and trade to free myself. So I would wake up every single day at 4 or 5 a.m. because I knew I had to go to work at 7 a.m. I would do the back testing. I would do the forecasting. I would do everything. How many times did I get caught in my job looking at my phone by my manager, and he would just look at me sideways? And yeah, it was just me staring at the charts for 4 years. I went through a lot of challenges. I went through a lot of communities, and eventually then I found ICT. So I would say after my 3rd year, I started seeing signs of consistency. I had a consistent way of looking at the market, but a lot of it was psychology also, which is a problem. A lot of people say that psychology is their problem. Probably not. You're probably just unprofitable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can't really judge your psychology if you don't have a profitable edge.
Mm-hmm.
But for 4 years, every single year, I was basically in a different trading strategy. I learned patterns, I learned raw price action, I learned SMC, I learned the 1 minute market structure, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
and then ICT. And with ICT, I became instantly profitable. So I started watching ICT's videos, and then boom, I was profitable. And it sounds so weird. And I do use that back to YouTube. I do use that as a title, the fact that I was instantly profitable with ICT. Why? Because it gets people to click. But then what do? I don't sell them the dream. I say, because I've been trading for 4 years before I got into ICT.
Mm.
So I'm not a beginner getting into ICT or any type of strategy.
Mm.
I've done my dues. I've paid my dues. I've had so many negative months. I've had negative quarters. I had times where I thought I was going to give up. I had times where I thought, is this the journey that I am supposed to follow, or should I just do something else? And yet I stick to it consistently every single day, and then everything started piecing together. So there is no secret.
So do you feel like, there's no secret, but do you feel like, as you said, in terms of like you getting to ICT and then being instantly profitable, as you've already just said, it's because you had such vast market knowledge and experience by then? Because obviously a lot of people nowadays, they're quite new going to ICT.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why they struggle. While versus you had this experience base beforehand. So then when watching ICT, it wasn't like it was all like fresh stuff. It was more so just a new set of eyes on the same charts.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think that's why I always also said ICT is not for beginners.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think beginners should get into ICT, because I would personally say that there is no real good foundation in ICT. So it's like either you have to sip through a lot of videos, which is literally paying your dues. It's like a lot of people want the shortcut. So ICT, a lot of people are like, what's the secret strategy that is going to make me profitable, wanting to become profitable in 2 months or 2 weeks, not understanding that if you want to build a house, first you build a really solid foundation. You have an understanding of what a candle is. You need to start with what a candle, what a pip, what a point, whatever it is. And then you build on top of that. You can't just straight up go to ICT, because I think it's too advanced, in my opinion. Like, I wouldn't start boxing and then go challenge Mike Tyson. Like, that's literally what you're doing when you start trading and you go for ICT. It's like, I think that's a way for disaster. If you start off and you're like, I want to go to the most advanced thing.
It's interesting you say that, because a lot of people, because of these complexities and this advanced nature of some of the content they're trying to consume, and then also that the reality of the journey of that they're not going to do it quickly. So they go through this period of time, of course, where they feel very confused. It's quite complex what they're trying to learn. Then when they're trying to apply this on the charts, they're throwing money at the markets when they shouldn't be. And so they're racking up these losses. And I've always had this question very consistently within my journey. And it's like, Riz, is trading real? Like, can you actually make money from trading? So if someone was to ask you that, what would you say to them?
I would say the probability of you making money are as small as they tell you it is, which means most people will not be profitable. Because the reality is that on social media, what you see are the small percentage of people that make it. You don't see the people that failed 50 challenges and went bankrupt because they were on credit. You don't see the people that have tried for years and years and never became profitable, because that doesn't go viral. It does not go viral. And even if it does, people just end up forgetting it, right? So the people that you see, be it Kyle, Paladin, the people we hang around with, Kyle, Paladin, Casper, Omar, everything, I would genuinely say that we are a small percentage of people. Now, you have to be naive in the sense of believing that you can also be this. But you need to understand the risk, because the reality is most people will not be profitable, but the people that will eventually be profitable, the return is outsized. So maybe try and see if this is for you, but I would be very careful with the waters that you're about to join.
Mm-hmm. So it's just like being more mindful of what is exactly is you're joining, right?
Yeah.
Not just seeing and that's where I guess the narrative of this whole thing started from, is like the unrealistic expectation. So one thing I can ask you about that is, why haven't you gone down that route, right? Like, why haven't, it's so easy, right? It's so easy for you to be able to create a lifestyle, market a lifestyle, and make a lot of money, right? It's an easy choice. And you probably could have done that years ago and probably made 10 times more money in that time, right?
Yeah.
So why haven't you chosen to do that?
There's a point in my life that changed my life forever. And it was in my 9th grade. And I wanted the iPhone 5S. And it was new iPhone, like it cost a little bit for what my parents could afford. And my mother told me, I don't want to give you the iPhone. And I was like, why? And she was like, I know you're going to brag in school. And ever since then, I have struggled in bragging, making people feel that they're less than me. Like I don't like people to see if I have a lavish lifestyle. I've never portrayed a lavish lifestyle. Doesn't matter how much money I make. It's hard for me to show a lavish lifestyle, a nice watch, a nice car, whatever it is, even though I may have those things. No one knows. But the reality, that story, that situation changed me forever, because I think that built such a big character in me of, okay, then my mother is going to be unproud of me if she sees me bragging on YouTube, bragging on social media, or bragging to other people that, oh, look, I'm better than you. Look at my watch. I'm so much better than you. I know that would not make my mother and my parents proud. And that's why I've never done it. It's never crossed my mind. So could I have made tons more money? Yes. I never thought about it. Never. I've been offered like $10,000 per month for a marketing account. I don't know. It's not my thing. Ever since the beginning of my channel, I was doing the reviews, and people started gravitating towards the reviews because I was looking at a company and I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I do like this. I don't like this. I like this, which is kind of the video that I made this weekend. I don't like this and I like this. And the reason for that is because I always stuck to my word in terms of, if I think that something is true, then I just say it. I normally don't really think of the repercussions. So my friends, what they describe me as is that if someone new is talking with me and I say something that is outrageous, they have to explain, hey, listen, like, this is the way he expresses himself. Like if I say, for example, I don't think I've ever said this, but if I say, oh, you're a little bit fatter, some people would be like, oh, what the fuck? But other people would understand that I don't have negative intentions in what I'm saying, and they would take it positively. But you need to understand where I'm coming from. And this is why I don't accept any partnership that then limits what I'm able to say. Because every time I talk with a CEO, a company, whatever it is, and they're like, oh, here's the script. I'm like, no, that's the script. You either accept that I'm going to say what I'm going to say, or you don't. Most of them say, okay, then no, right? Because they don't really want people to be sharing positives and negatives. I talked with some CEOs not long ago, and they were like, don't you think that your message is negative for prop firms, for us prop firm owners? Because I always tell people, always say this in my videos. You can watch all of my videos, and I always say this. Doesn't matter if I'm promoting a prop firm or whatever. I always say, if you are not profitable, don't go for prop firms. Because you will lose, and you will be liquidity for the people that are profitable and that are going to win with prop firms. And they said, oh yeah, but maybe that reduces the number of customers that we are going to get. And I'm like, but it increases the number of people that come in with the right expectations. So what's the problem with prop firms now, or people, or prop firm customers, is that they come in with the expectation that this is all theirs. Like, I should have the best trading conditions. This should be cheaper. The profit target should be less. Everything, because 90% of people failing in prop firms is horrible. Guess what? That's trading. Trading is a zero-sum game. People need to understand this. Trading brings nothing to society. It's a zero-sum game. If I win, someone else lost. I used to have this this value debate in my mind of, is trading moral? But then I was like, I've started reasoning with my head that, okay, if I'm making money, then I'm just taking from a bank that would not care at all if they would take all of my money.
Of course.
It's like going into a jungle, a tiger attacking you, and you not wanting to attack him back because, hey, like it's his jungle. Like, no, you have to fight, right? So it's the Wild West. That's what trading is.
Definitely. And, one thing in terms of like the Wild West, for example, is most people's trading journeys, right? And, struggling to find a strategy. A lot of people obviously strategy hop. And you've already mentioned that, you went through like 2 or 3 different strategies before you got to ICT. Is there any advice you can give to people out there who are maybe finding themselves in that situation? 1 or 2 things, either strategy hopping, and they kind of advise to kind of find and hone in on one. And then 2, if they're struggling to change strategy, because I've had that before where, I've had a barrier where I was on something, but I knew that there might be something better out there. I need to learn more, but I just struggled to change.
Yeah. I've thought about this a lot, because with 4 years being in 4 different strategies, I was always like, I'm not going to be profitable if I stick, like if I continue doing this. And so my suggestion for the people that are strategy hopping and everything is, there's a difference between strategy hopping and getting to know yourself. Because let's say that the first strategy you go for is a swing trading strategy. If you are the type of person that is not willing to hold a trade for 5 days, then you probably shouldn't be in a strategy that is going to take 5 days to play out, a swing strategy. And that's why you have to maybe go for a scalping strategy. But you try a scalping strategy and you're entering with 4 pip stops, which means that if the trade pulls back even 1% of your drawdown, that's 25% of your stop loss. And you're extremely stressed. Maybe that's not for you. That's exactly what happened to me. I went into a structure strategy. I basically hopped into another one because shiny object syndrome. Then I didn't like that one because the strike rate was low. And I was like, I want to increase my strike rate. And so I saw other people's success and I was like, okay, I want to try this. So that was SMC. Then I was on the 1 minute. The risk to reward was good. Understanding market structure was great. But there was something that I did not like, which is the stop losses were so small and it was affecting my psychology a lot. I was profitable because the risk to rewards were so huge. I could have a 20% strike rate and still be profitable. But with that came so much emotion that I thought something needs to change. And that's why I found ICT. And that's where the final piece put everything together. I reduced my risk to reward, increased my strike rate, and have such a good understanding of market now, where my goal now is to master it, that you have to find yourself in this market. I don't think people should stick with only one strategy. Some people do. Kudos to them. But some people don't. Kudos to them either. I don't judge people that change strategies, which I used to. I don't judge people that are stick with only one strategy. But there's a big difference between strategy hopping, which is, let me see what Riz is teaching. I took 2 losses. Okay, ditch this, go to another one. I took 2 losses, ditch this, go to another one. Every single strategy I was in for at least 6 months.
Wow.
I did not change any. It was 1.5 years, half a year. And then both half a year was SMC. So
not much changes. We like
exactly.
like terminology.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think it's very helpful because I think people out there do need to hear like it's okay to change, but when it makes sense, right? And you're being intentful about the change. It's not like you just said, oh, I've lost something, let me go try something new, or so-and-so seems better. It's more so like, okay, this isn't working for me because of this, this, and this. Because I'm sure out of each of those communities, you learned something though that helped you at the time, right? Which you then brought forward. And then, as we said, that's the experience you brought forward when coming to ICT then. And when it comes to ICT traders, you see a lot of people arguing with each other all the time, right? You see like, this is the best model, that's the best model. What would you say to people in terms of if they're coming across ICT? I know you've mentioned already have some form of experience, but is there anything that you would say in terms of someone who's new to ICT to maybe check first? Like, this is probably the good foundation, as you said, to build that strong foundation. Is there anything in particular in terms of ICT content you would say is that foundation to you? The Skilled Challenge is finally here. Enjoy the lowest profit targets in the industry through our Skilled Challenge, which is only requiring a 6% profit target. Yes, you heard that right. Not only that, but enjoy 85% profit split as well as 125% challenge-free refund. All part of the best product on the market. You get to choose your drawdown between 8 or 10% through our toggle option, so you choose how much drawdown you'd like. Take advantage of the Skilled Challenge today.
Yeah, I would say reading price is the biggest foundation, because I went through the core content, I went through the sniper series, I went through basically everything ICT tells us to go through. And a lot of things did not resonated with me. So there is the commitment of traders, there is treasuries, there is seasonalities, there's a lot of things that I was like, either this is going to take a long time or I don't really focus on this. And the decision was not to focus on it. I may eventually go there, but I just kept it simple. Like, that's really my goal. It's to have a simple trading edge where I'm simply, I look at three things. Look at bias, power of three, which is basically manipulation, distribution, accumulation, manipulation, distribution. And I look at that on the daily, and I trade with the manipulation. So I wait for the market to manipulate, liquidate, shift, whatever. I just keep it so simple. And I found most of it in the 2022 mentorship. So I actually got into ICT because of Hannah. It was funny because she was the one that got me into my first strategy, because I saw her on YouTube and I messaged her in 2018. And then I saw her going into ICT and I was like, okay, let me check this out too. So it's funny how everything just became full circle with joining ICT too. But yeah, I just started with 2022 mentorship. I do believe it's very simple. Do you have to sip through 42 videos? Yes. Is that a price you have to take in order to reach profitability? Yes. Are you expecting to become profitable in 3 months? That's not going to happen. Why? People have this idea that they're just going to be profitable because it's trading. It's so accessible. Oh, I can just go on my phone, press buy or sell, and I'm supposed to be profitable. I look at some candles, whatever. This looks like it's gonna go up. I'll buy. As that's not it. There's so much that goes into trading. Yet because it's so accessible, people want it to be easier than it actually is. Think of a college degree. It takes 3-4 years, 5, 6 if you want to become a master. If you want to do the masters, you literally have to do 2 or 3 more years. Just apply that into your trading. If you want the foundation, 3 years. If you want to become a master, either 2 or 3 more years. Before that, don't think you're going to make it. And people hate me when I say this. People hate so much. They comment like, how dare you? I've been trading for a year and I'm profitable. And I'm like, sure. Hey, good to you. There are some people that maybe are profitable after a year. But ever since the beginning of the channel, the goal was realistic expectations. Just 3 years, 4 years. Don't expect to be profitable before that. If you do, you're up for disaster or failure.
No, definitely. And I think it's fair. And I think it's like one of the biggest things that the space needs to have is that realistic expectations. End of the day, if you are telling people, hey, set aside 3 to 4 years to get that consistency and get that understanding, right? And if they achieve it in 1, fantastic. The reality of like, the way I see it is that if you're looking at, let's say 100 people, half a person, 0.5 people will be that person who can do it in 1 year, for
Yeah.
example. So it's possible. Anything's possible. Someone can do it in a month. Someone can do it in a week, right? It's possible. The reality of it is so slim. I'm sure there's one person in the whole world who did it in a week somehow.
Yeah.
Right, and they probably had some background in casinos or like probabilities or something, right? But is it possible? Yes. The reality of it extremely slim, and I think reality is the most important place that we need to be living in. I get the need for like polarization and things like that when it comes to say social media or gaining something like a traffic, right? But as long as it's backed with realistic expectation off the back of it, because that's what I try and do in terms of like the short form content I make. I'll say something crazy, cool, but then I'll make sure it has a realistic and reality off the back of it. So I'm not like just fully going like Forex trading is so easy, bang, that's it. Stop talking. You know what I mean? It's more like it's easy because once you have this and this, then it becomes easier, right? But if I missed out those two elements, then the reality is gone, and now it's a dream, now it's a fantasy, and I think it's dangerous to have fantasies in trading. I think it's dangerous to have fantasies in anything because then you're setting yourself up for, I won't even say failure, but you're setting yourself up for very strong emotions. Because then when it doesn't fit that fantasy and the reality hits you, it hits you harder.
Yeah.
Versus if you've got your eyes open and you see, okay, this is realistic. This is the average, right? And as long as I'm okay with average in terms of the average time it takes, the average money that it makes, the average amount lost to get to that point, as long as you're accepting of those things, when they happen, you're not going to get hit in the gut. Versus, like me personally, when I came into trading, it was like 1 year is all I need. If I dedicate myself a year, and in my head at that time, I thought 1 year was a long time. Right? I literally thought like, I'll do this for a year, and I thought that was a big deal. Like, I'm gonna do it for a year, and then that's great. And that's just naivety. That was like my age as well. I think I was 21-ish. Yeah, 21-ish. So I just thought 1 year was a long time at that point, but no. Now every time I do something, I'm thinking 5 years, 10 years, even with social media, even with the podcast. I didn't even put a time on it. Right. And I think that's probably one of the best things you can do, is especially because you enjoy it, right? Like when it came to trading, did you actually enjoy the art of trading itself?
Yeah. I have a very funny story that when I was 16, I went into the bank with 200 euros and I was like, I want to invest in an ETF here. And the guy was super cool. He just pulled up his computer, pulled out an Excel sheet, and he was like, look, this is how much money you have. This is the commissions you are going to pay. This is the return you need to have in order to even break even. It was like 36% per year on an ETF. And I've always been entrepreneurial, finance driven, etc. because ever since young, this wasn't educated to me by my parents, but from social media, because that's what happens. Like once your kid gets social media, you're not in charge anymore. It's social media. Whatever he sees there, that's what's going to dictate his future. But I saw a lot of like Graham Stephan, everything that is finance related. I was watching it. That's why when I went to the UK, to university, the goal was save as much as possible. Don't spend a penny. That was the goal. Once I started trading with the signals, it actually really drew me in, where I saw the numbers on my phone. I saw the charts on my phone, and I was either making or losing money with the signals. And I was like, whatever is happening here, there's probably a way to be profitable. And that's when I started learning. So that's when I started joining communities and etc. to learn how to trade. Because I understood, okay, this is an actual career. Let me try. Yeah. And because it was based on finances and like news and everything that's going on in the world and etc., I was like, okay, let's go after it.
So there's already like the finance spark was already there, and the finance spark kind of led you towards that path. And then when you went down that path, it's interesting. It's something that we're going to touch on shortly, actually. The question that came to mind. But before we do that, I want to continue just a bit on your journey, which is like in terms of these challenges. Like you've obviously been looking at the prop firm model for a long time. You know, you reviewed a lot of companies, experienced a lot of companies, have great knowledge on the actual industry side of it. You know, we see a lot of people still struggling to this day. It's always been a struggle, but still to this day, struggle when it comes to challenges, right? Passing challenges, verifications, holding their funded accounts. What advice could you give to them as someone who's not only obviously observed the space and sort of reviewed it, but obviously experienced it yourself? Have you gone through a period where you weren't winning challenges, obviously, and were losing them?
Yeah, so because I was always quite frugal, I was lucky in the sense that I passed the first FTMO challenge I did.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 10K challenge, so it wasn't a lot, and I never got a payout from it.
Okay.
And then passing an FTMO challenge was actually not good for me. And the reason for that is because I passed and I thought I was a god. So what happens after? Oh, I did a 10K challenge. Let's go for 100K. Let's go spend 500 pounds on a challenge. Lost that challenge. Then I went for another one because there was still the motivation in me to pass. Failed that one too. At least because I was frugal, I was like, okay, let's take a step back. Obviously, I'm the problem here. I'm not profitable yet. Let's work on this side, which is what people don't do. People fail a challenge and they think it's the prop firm's fault. Oh, it was the prop firm. They slipped me. Oh, I had this slippage. Did you trade CPI? Yes, but it was the prop firm. It was the broker. It's like, no, it was you. Like, you are the problem. If you are going through 10% drawdown, you are the problem. Your edge is the problem. You're either gambling or you don't have an edge. So you have to work on that before you keep buying challenges. The problem right now that people face is that they just keep buying challenge one after the other because they have this dream that once they pass, all my problems are solved. Guess what? The challenge just started once you pass. Because now you have to break through the barrier that I'm worthy of making money from trading to then make money. So you're constantly going to be chasing this. Let's say you fail 100K challenge. That's $5,000. You pass a 100K challenge. So that is 5,400 that you're now deep. You still have to make 5.4% or at least 5% to make all of your money back. And do you think that after failing 5 challenges, after losing 50%, that you have the skill to make 5? The probability of that happening is slim. What's the problem? We see the people that probability actually played out in their favor. That's what the interviews are. That's what the withdrawal certificates are. They don't tell you the whole story. They tell you a small part of it, which is look at this person's success. It's the market. It's predatory. It plays on your emotions. Everything, all of this is predatory. The goal is to get you enticed to buy because they know that you are probably not going to be profitable. That's why the message is be profitable first. Let's say you want to try a challenge, just go for it. It's $100. If you can afford $100, obviously, like never buy a challenge that you cannot afford to lose. That's just extra pressure on you. If you want to go for it, try it once. But if you fail, just go back to the drawing board. I had someone, when I was doing a giveaway, someone was like, oh yeah, give me a 5K challenge. I just lost this one. And he sent a screenshot of the email saying he breached the challenge. And I replied, no, you don't need another challenge. You need to go back to the drawing board. Because people think that this next challenge, it's going to go good. No, like go back, go 3 months or 4 or 5 or 6 into demo or your personal account, which is do it a small personal account where you have some emotional attachment too, and trade there. Stop gambling your way out of poverty, so to say, which is what a lot of people need to hear, which is most people that are extremely profitable with trading, they probably don't really need the money. That's why like people that do drop shipping, made a lot of money from crypto or whatever, they are quicker to be profitable with trading because they have this detachment from money. They already made it. It's whatever. It's like, I'll just put 50K in, whatever. Like even, I don't know if I'm butchering Pasquale's story, but he made money on his personal account and other business ventures. And that's why now he takes these kinds of risks. He's built absolutely different. Pasquale himself says, don't look at me and try to replicate what I'm doing. Just don't do that, because he knows he's like a unicorn in this world. And he knows that his message, if it was, oh, do just like me, would be negative. And that's really the issue. Like it's the selling the dreams that's the issue.
Yeah, no, because I've seen the same. It's very interesting you bring up Pasquale actually, and that side of it, because I had a student years ago who was very similar. Like he did a crazy account flip. I think it was like 10, 20K to like 250K, and he did it like 2-3 times. And I thought, this is crazy. And then even his results were insane, right? And it was on prop firms and stuff and getting payouts, etc. And then obviously his account flip was on his own personal and stuff. And he didn't have a social media, so he wasn't selling anything. There was no reason to do it or share it, right? And then later on down the line, do I realize he's actually, super wealthy as a businessman, and he comes from a super wealthy family too. So again, it's like you said, the detachment to money is there now. Like it's completely like they're used to these like way bigger figures. So these small numbers in the trading realm for them is nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's a huge, because that's basically when you've mastered the psychology of money. So therefore, when you come to trading, you're not worried about the psychology, which is the biggest part, and you don't fall into the gambling because you're not desperate for the money, right? And I think it's twofold, like you said, focus on the skill set before then going and rushing to challenges, while equally focusing on your financial standpoint, which is actually interesting because it kind of is the two key points from your journey.
Yeah.
Is like focusing on the skill set, so like the strategy, and then focusing on the financial principles, which you've already talked about. You were so frugal and focusing on saving and not spending so much so you could have that financial cushion.
Yeah.
It's very interesting indeed. Now, we'll quick fire a few like trading related questions, which is like in terms of drawdown, for example. That's a big struggle that a lot of traders face, whether it's on personal or especially obviously on evaluation firms. I'm sure you've experienced it as well, but like, what are some tips or things that helped you to handle and maintain and beat drawdown, if you will?
Yeah, so I would say drawdown is the downfall of a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is I came to this conclusion not long ago, which is a small behavior which you think is just innocent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to place this trade or whatever, is actually the beginning of the downfall of a lot of traders. And a lot of people, when they go into drawdown, their goal is to get out of it as quick as possible. I don't want to be in drawdown. I just want to make money, get another payout, do this and that. And I've personally faced that. And what happens is that you start risking a little bit more on a funded account.
Mm-hmm.
You lose 1%. Now you're like, oh my God, I only have 9% left. I just lost 10% basically.
Mm-hmm.
And you lose another one and another one. Okay, oh my, I only have 7 more shots. And then you're like, but if I risk 3%,
Mm-hmm.
then I just need a 1-to-1, then I'm back. And then you go into this extreme negative cycle. And one of the worst things that can happen is that actually playing out.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you have this learned behavior of, okay, if I get into a little bit of drawdown, I'll just risk more and now I'll be out of drawdown. And when that's not really the case.
Mm-hmm.
So my tip to traders in drawdown is reduce your risk. Accept that it's going to take time to get out of drawdown, but the real traders are built when they are in drawdown. The more pressure you can handle, the more successful you are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen this with Kyle and other traders where they were like in 9% drawdown. So they had a bad losing streak until then, but they crawled slowly and passed the challenge. That's what a real trader is. That's where I see what a real trader is, is when you are able to go into drawdown, keep composure, and get out of it slowly. So the message really is, if you're in drawdown, first of all, that's normal. That's probabilities. No matter if your strike rate is 80%, you're still over 1,000 trades. You're still guaranteed a 4 or 5 trade losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
And now, if you are in drawdown and you're watching this, accept the challenge. Like, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Just
it's part of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome. Right?
And you mentioned earlier about your first challenge being 10,000, right? And I feel a lot of people just jump in the deep end, which isn't necessarily a bad thing in one sense. Like, of course, if you're willing to do the sink or swim mentality and burn the boats mentality, for example. But I also think it is dangerous, like, and premature. Like, you probably should scale. Did you do a scaling sort of system? Like, you obviously started at 10. You said obviously you didn't get a withdrawal from that. Was your next one straight away like 200, or did you scale your way through the funding?
Yeah, so basically how it started was I passed the 10K challenge. Then I failed the 100K challenge. And while that was happening, I also blew the 10K challenge. then tried another 100K, failed that. And then I took like some time off of challenges just to focus on the craft because I knew, okay, I'm not profitable. Let's fix this. And then instead of jumping into a 100K challenge, I was like, okay, 10K challenge. Let me get some withdrawals from this. I started getting some withdrawals, getting some refunds, understanding how the game is played because you need to like, I've had like 100K accounts where my first withdrawal was like $100 just to get the refund. It's like, it's how I like to play the game. It's like, I don't like to take big risks. And because of that, it's like, okay, I just make a little bit of money, wait 30 days, 14 days, whatever it is, get the refund. And then I slowly started scaling with the payouts that I would get from the other account. Obviously, let's say I would have 3% profit. That's $300 with an 80% profit split. That would make it $240. So I would add maybe 200 more, and then I would try the 100K challenge, like get myself really out of my comfort zone. And if I failed, then okay, let's go back. Then the next try is going to be a 50K. Let's see how I feel. So I came into the conclusion that I've always had, and this I came up with this myself, which is your comfort number. There is a monetary amount that is going to make you take it seriously, but it's not going to break the bank. It's not going to make you feel extreme amount of pressure. For me, right now, that comfort numbers is a 100K challenge. I could lose a 100K challenge in 1 day or 2 days and not blink an eye. I would not have to worry. Everything's okay. But some people, for some people, that number is $100. So okay, go for a 25K account. If it's $300, go for a 50K. Whatever. Like, use the discount codes. Try some giveaways. Whatever it is. But just be careful because you can easily fall into this trap of, oh, but the 100K is much better. Oh, this person just passed a 300K challenge. I want that too. Dude, if I have never bought a 300K challenge because I know how uncomfortable that would be to spend like $2,000 or $1,500 on a challenge. That would be extremely uncomfortable. So I never do some. Sometimes I try the 200K challenges, and sometimes I pass, sometimes I fail because I'm more aggressive. But my biggest success rate is in a 100K challenge. So for everyone watching is like, just look at your comfort number, think about your comfort number, everything I just said, and start there.
Definitely. And you see a lot of traders come into the space, and I think, do you find, because I know obviously you started by documenting your journey, right? And therefore documented the whole process to the consistency. And I find like that is a powerful thing. And I think it's an incredible thing to be able to then witness as well as be able to, as an individual doing it, for example, you'd be able to then look back at your journey and see it all as well, which is quite rare. Do you find that there's a lot of traders who are just purposely trying to be content creators at the same time, which is not a problem, but it's messing with their trading? Yeah. Did you ever find that yourself?
Yeah. So for a long time, I thought, was YouTube beneficial or not for me? But to be fair, like ever since I was young, I was 12 years old or 13 years old, and I had a YouTube channel playing Minecraft, talking English already. I don't know. I don't remember. And unfortunately, I deleted those videos. I would love to watch them back. But I always had this creative side of me that wanted to share things, and I never came into it with the expectation of make money, of going viral, or people looking up to me as an amazing trader. That was never the goal. It came as a side effect, but I never thought about it. And the problem right now is that being a social media creator is so normal that I think that people come into it for the wrong reasons. And that's what I would not recommend. So don't come if you're trying to get an affiliate. Don't come if you're trying to make money from YouTube. Get a lot of people looking up to you. If it's just to record your journey, then go ahead. I think it's great. Listen, 5 years after, you're going to look back. Like, I love watching my old videos. Like, I kind of cringe at them.
Of course.
But I love looking back and being like, he's the reason why I'm successful. This guy right here that I'm watching is the reason I'm successful. So I personally am grateful that I started YouTube. That's why I'm here, to be fair. If it wasn't for YouTube, I would not have had a lot of opportunities that I've already gotten. So I'm eternally grateful. I would never talk bad about someone becoming a YouTuber or whatever it is. Depends on the reasons for it and what you're trying to portray. Because a lot of people now come in and they're like, let me sell some services here. Let me sell some signals. Let me accept this deal on a marketing account. And then they become just a social media influencer. They're never becoming a trader.
Yeah.
Like we know of people that have never placed a trade in their life, yet they're made millions from courses.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
It is a problem. And it's interesting though, like it kind of brings me back to the point I was thinking about earlier and I nearly forgot it. I just remembered it again, so I'm happy. Which was similar to what you said about signals, for example. You came in through signals. And though that was a negative, it kind of showed you the way in terms of the markets. And it's very interesting because I've recognized that so much. Like even me, like to be fair, mine was less so negative in terms of like, yes, the people I learned from, maybe they could have like what they would, it was kind of was repackaged baby pips in a sense. Like it was really, really basic stuff and they charged a lot back then, but there also wasn't a lot of information around back then. You know? And it wasn't like they didn't try to teach that, even though it was on baby pips, they still tried to teach it.
Yeah.
But you hear a lot of it with IML, for example, or IM. I don't know if they're still around, but like
They are.
they are. They're still clinging
wild.
on. Yeah. But you hear a lot there. Like a lot of people's journey into trading or finding trading was through that, right? And then they more than likely have left, but they're still trading. And then some people have gone on to do really well, for example. Same with Mamba, right? Same thing. People might have found his signals, might have been a negative experience, even maybe been a positive experience to some degree. But that's how they found trading. Now, don't get me wrong, there'll be some people who get put off. There'll be some people who then have the wrong expectation. But in one sense, it's like, it's really weird how a negative thing can bring you in, but it's the thing that showed you the way or opened your eyes to what's possible. And therefore, then people go down that path. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'll say there's definitely a point to be made there because again, I don't look back at anything I've done, like being in signals, losing 1,000 pounds with signals or whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, this was so bad, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have gotten into trading. I never look back that, oh, why did I go to uni? If it wasn't for uni, I would probably not be trading. So I never look at things as a positive and negative because it's so dependent on each person's journey.
Yeah.
Because some people maybe look at signals and they're like, oh my God, this is my way out. So they put all of their money into it, which I thankfully didn't. And they blow all of their money with it. And that's my message to Mamba FX, if you're still watching, because I hope you still are watching, which is the fact that I have nothing against selling the signals, selling the service, selling a course. I genuinely just don't care. It's all about the marketing. But you know this. You know that's why you went viral. And that's why everyone that is polarizing goes viral. Now, again, if we bring back to it, it's like, I did not want to share personal information, and I'm sorry for that. I can publicly admit when I was wrong, and I'm sorry for sharing personal information that I didn't think through. But again, it's a polarizing figure. You know what you're selling. I don't like what you're selling. I came with a bias. It's true, but I still didn't manipulate results. And the reality is that a lot of people will come to your service and some will make money. A lot of people will probably lose money. That's why you have a bad rating. And you're not, even though you have a free course, the signals are not teaching anyone anything. And the reality is the way that you market it is based on what you are making. The way that you say you buy the Rolls Royce, you buy the Lambo, you buy whatever it is, that comes literally from the people paying you. That does not come from trading, because if it was, you would also do it on a regulated broker. You just do it on a regulated broker. There's one trader that I really respect, which is Umar Ashraf. Why? He can't fake any money of the 20 million that he's made from trading or more. You can't fake any of it. It was all done on a regulated broker. So 1 to 30 leverage is plenty. Go to a regulated broker, do the same thing you're doing, and I'll give you the kudos. I'll publicly, if you go to a Wanda account and you profit with the Wanda account with your signals, I will publicly make a video saying, I am sorry, you are actually a profitable trader. I will say that in a video. If you do it on a regulated broker and you prove to everyone on a regulated broker, Owanda, I would say Owanda, that's the most well-known in the US,
Yes,
I guess.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you're profitable there, I'll publicly give you the kudos. But first accept the challenge.
Because it's interesting, like when it comes to Mamba, for example, it's like he's me and him we're not spoken, like we haven't spoken back and forth. He had mentioned about coming on the pod. I had mentioned that obviously I'm in the UK. And I said, like, you know, if I'm ever in the area, we can make it happen. Because at the end of the day, like and I'm honest about it, like if I look at his page, I would say he's a marketer and not a trader, right? Is good at marketing, good at social media, makes money that way, not from trading, right? But I always give people a fair shot because I thought the exact same with Lambo Raul, right? I looked at Lambo Raul, I said, probably a marketer, probably not making money from trading. But after sitting with Lambo, I always call him Lambo. After sitting with Raul, I got a sense that he knows about trading and he does make money from trading as well as the courses or whatever it may be. And he's very honest with that as well. And yet he does, even though he might have like what some may deem an unrealistic lifestyle in terms of like cars or whatever it may be, in terms of trading wise though, he posts like realistic trading results, or like this much profit per trade, like 20, 30K. It's never like 250K in one trade or anything crazy, right? So I respected him more because I sat down and I said it to him though, to his face after the interview. I said, like, I had a bit of a bias coming in here thinking that you're just a scammer or a marketer. And after sitting with you, I realized, you know, from your conversation that you do know what you're talking about in terms of your trading. And the difference though with him in comparison to all the rest is he's been on the FTMO leaderboard. He's done consistent payouts with FTMO. So it really makes a difference. That's a weird thing because it's like, everyone always talks about track records. One thing that when it comes to these prop firms, especially like the top ones like FTMO and so on, is that they can't be faked.
Yeah.
So if anyone's doing these great account flips and making crazy money, it's like, why wouldn't you just verify yourself either, whether it's through a regulated broker or even just a prop firm?
Yeah.
Because prop firm then is like, you're not even risking your own money. You just make, for the people like that who have that skill set, right? It's just free money to them, right? It should be, right? So I always find that interesting. So that's one thing I respect about Raul because like he's done that. That's there. The certificates are there, if you will. The interviews there, I think, as well.
Yeah.
And so like, even with Mamba, for example, even like when I've had issues with Alex G, for example, I've said, look, you can all still come on the pod. Even like I'm a Nat who I really don't like, and I know 100% is a scammer because he said it to my face. I've always said they always have a free seat at the table to talk, as long as they're happy to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and be like, you know, promote them and like big you up. You're happy to talk about it, and based on your answers, I'm no judge, right? I can't say you're guilty because you said this. I let the audience can say what they want. Like with Dapper, I said on that, and the funny thing is, on the actual episode, I didn't say like I think you're fake. I just said, look, the story sounds unrealistic to me. That's all I said, right? And I knew when that was going to go out that I was going to be in a similar position to yourself, where you're going to get both sides, right? Probably because I was a bit too balanced. So the people who really liked him would be like, you're just thinking. People who didn't like him probably saying, Riz, why were you so light on him? Yeah, you know. You can never win. You can never win. That's not the aim. I'm not trying to win. There's nothing to win. It's just trying to talk to people, different backgrounds. But no, I liked your video personally, and I want to see more. I would love to see more. I don't know if I don't know if you're wanting to make more or not, but I really liked it, bro. I think it should never put you off from making it. I think you're a great creator. I think you're very creative in what you do, and I personally think not only is it an entertaining video, I think it's educational as well. Because I think it shows that, look, don't judge a book by its cover as well. Because again, like if I was to go into that, I would think this guy's losing. I mean, he's absolutely losing. No way in hell he's winning, right? Even if it's set up in a certain way where it can kind of make it look like it's winning, even if it's not, even if it's set up in a way where it's not really teaching like proper risk management, whatever. Put all that to the side. If it's making money, if it makes return like R, it's making R. Yeah. Can't hate. Right, and I think you did a very educational video personally with an entertainment side. That's what's allowed it to blow up, and I think Mamba himself helped it blow up even more. In my personal, like, I remember he DM'd you. I know he's DM'd you some bad stuff as well in terms of like, I can do this, I can do like little like semi-threat stuff, right? which I'm sorry if you didn't mention. But yeah, but then he's also mentioning like, hey, my response video is done 1 out of 10. So I feel like it's like a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're comparing, like we both
Yeah.
done it. You know, we
Yeah.
both done really great videos, but also in the middle of it, it's like, F you, man.
Yeah.
Like at the end of his video, he said, fuck you, Kimmel.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, I'm still trying, like, even before coming into this, he was like, oh yeah, like if you don't take the video down, maybe I'm butchering this, I don't know. If you don't take the video down, then I'll continue, I'll keep doing my thing. And I'm like, is that a threat? Like, I genuinely just don't understand. Just like I didn't understand the message he sent, which the one that I posted and he did not like. I took that as a negative towards me, accusation, etc. And that's why I shared it, which, again, we've talked about this. There's no reason for me to be constantly saying the same thing. But yeah, it's like, I personally don't understand what is going on. But hey, it's like, listen, if I am to die tomorrow, with social media, I've experienced this. If I am to die tomorrow, in 3 days, no one cares. Everyone has their own problems. I have my own problems. You have your own problems. Mamba has his own problems. Everyone has their own problems. This is just a rough patch for whoever it is, people being threatened and people that think that there was a hit piece, whatever. Like, the reality is, if I were to die tomorrow, no one would care. So I've just taken this approach with social media. It's like, hey, like, if you don't like me, then it is what it is. You're not paying the bills. Like, if I don't like you, then it is what it is. Like, I'm not paying your bills. You do you, I do me. And it's what Dan says. It's me versus me, you versus you. Hey, I'm not gonna change anything in your life.
I feel like we should set up you versus Mamba in a fight. So we're doing it. We'll do it. No, but no. So it's a 100% point. And you know what's interesting is, like, if people think that was a hit piece, I would love for you to make a hit piece just to show them the levels of what a hit piece actually is. You know what I mean? But again, it's like that's not the aim anyway. Because I don't care what anyone says. Right? I'm a very I can speak on it in terms of I know social media and I know a hit piece and I know an educational video and a balanced video. And that was a balanced video. I don't care what anyone says, because trust me, if it was a hit piece, there would be no survivors of a hit piece. You know,
I wouldn't even have posted it. If it was a hit piece, I would not have posted a profitable video for him. I remember I said in the group, I was like, I don't know if I want to post this video because it's going to be publicity for him. And still, I was like, I've put work into this video. I watched the video. It's not manipulated. I also did good as a trader. So I'm just going to put it out and let the world figure out whatever they want to figure out.
It's like the Trader Wars video, right? That's when I learned, like, don't even worry. Don't even worry. People, they're like, oh, all these guys who say they're the best traders or they do these payouts, they're all liars. Look how they're trading. It's a competition.
They're gambling.
It's like
lost 5% in one session.
That's for entertainment, right? There wasn't really any educational value. If I wanted to do a proper like trade-off or like a trading competition or to track people trading, it couldn't be one session long.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And if people knew, I need to give out the date. I need to find out what the date was of that. If they go and look at London session on that day, bro.
That was horrible.
It was literally the end of the set. As soon as we cut the time, volume kicked in.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
literally the minute after we cut the time, the volume kicked in.
We would have won if the volume would have picked in. So it's funny. It's very funny how people, again, take... You watch a video, you can make of it whatever you want. Just like I can watch the video and say that it's unbiased, anyone else can come into with a video with a bias and say that it was biased. Because there's ways to make everything positive and negative. It's like whatever we said here, it can be taken out of context and be flipped in a negative way. We have not said anything negative. I think we were pretty unbiased in the podcast. But anyone can look at this podcast and be like, oh, they're hating on Mamba too. It's like, no, we're talking about a situation that is happening. Now, you make of it whatever you want. That shows more of your bias than our bias. So if you think it's really negative, maybe it's because you love Mamba. If you think it's really good that we're taking him down when in reality we're not, then maybe you probably hate him. So just understand, everyone's gonna have a bias, and I just stick to my guns. I've always done it. So
Hey man, we'll make peace, right? We'll go out to. He's not even from Miami. Actually, I think he's from like LA. We'll go out to
Is he?
LA. Yeah,
Damn.
we'll go out to LA area. I don't know exactly where he's from, but we'll go to America. We'll go to America, and we'll sit down and do a round table together, right? We'll shake hands.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Hey man,
Hey,
you know,
Mamba, if you want to set it up, I'll fly. Riz flies. The team flies, and we'll do a round table. I think that's a good idea.
I think so. I think it'd be great.
Either
And then-
shake hands at the end or like
or fight.
punch.
We'll throw. Yeah, I'll put some gloves in the middle.
yeah.
The thing is, we can do both. We could do a round table with a trade-off, right?
Yeah, just everything.
Everything all in one. Right? We'll mix a pod, round table, trade-off, and a fight at the end. You know, it could be me and you fighting. It could be him and you. We could do a triple threat. It could be a Royal Rumble. You know, but no, I appreciate you, Kimmel. I know, obviously, like I said, people don't understand. Obviously, you know, I know you're sort of aware of these things anyway, and you kind of expected something. Maybe it was a bit bigger than what it is. I've been in the situation where people are threatening family members or threatening to come to your house and all this sort of silly stuff. I've been in the position where people are taking down Instagram. I know it's extremely stressful, right? And I think you're handling it very well, you know? And yeah, keep it up. That's all I would say. Keep it up. Like, I love the video. I don't care what people say. I think it was extremely balanced. I think it was very enjoyable. And the numbers speak for themselves. The people aren't watching it just because, they think it's a hit piece. No, they're watching it because it's a good video. That's simple as that. And yeah, well, man, your links will be in the description below. I appreciate you. We'll definitely do this again. We have some exciting things coming shortly. It won't be out yet because it's coming out straight away, which is a very rare occurrence. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. Drop a comment with your thoughts below. You know, was the conversation balanced or not? Did you think it was biased? Let us know. What video would you like to see from Kimmel next? Because I'm interested to hear your thoughts of what sort of video you want to see next as well. And make sure you hit subscribe. And until next time, everyone, take care.